In today's video we're going to look at even more angry PBA bowlers. There are some interesting outbursts that I'm going to break down in this video which feature some well-known PBA bowlers losing their cool. From fiery trash talk to players getting distracted by noises from the snack bar, this video has it all. So let's jump straight in with our first outburst. Number 1. Anthony Simonson. This incident occurred at the 2023 PBA World Championship, which is a part of the World Series of Bowling. During the final round, bowlers were trying to get into the top 5 to make the TV finals. However, second and third place were tied between Simonsen and Jacob Buttroff. So PBA rules dictated that there needed to be a roll-off to determine the higher seed. And also by PBA rules, this was technically a new round, which meant that a 5-minute practice session would be given. Simonsen was not happy with this rule and asked if they could just go ahead and start the roll-off without any practice. The reason for this was that they had just finished bowling the previous round and the roll-off was taking place straight after. This request was refused, however, and the 5 minutes of practice went ahead as this was what was stipulated in the rules. You can see Simonsen throwing the ball down the lane a few times without much care, and it's almost a little bit like a passive-aggressive protest. But as the commentators on the stream said, just because Simonsen didn't want the practice time himself, that doesn't mean that his opponent didn't want it either. Nobody was forcing Simonsen to practice, he could have just sat down and not thrown a ball if he really wanted to. Simonsen ended up winning the roll-off, and afterwards all 5 players who made the show gave a short interview. Simonsen came in for his interview, and the following happened.
And here comes our number 2 qualifier, Anthony Simonson. Anthony, tough day on the lanes, man, the scoring pace, everything. You end up getting in a roll-off. How exhausted do you feel right now?
No comment.
Sunday, ready for the show, number 2 seed.
No comment.
What are you going to do for the rest of the weekend to get ready?
No comment.
Thanks for your time, Anthony.
Clearly he was upset about the situation, but I think there must have been other things going on throughout the tournament that were irritating Simonsen, and I suspect that this was just the last straw for him, because it was a very minor incident and his reaction seemed extremely over the top. So I think there were probably other grievances that he had, and this was just frustration that had been built up. Unfortunately for Simonsen, he does seem to have a bit of a reputation for having this sort of temperament, as well as being a pretty bad loser. Either way, it wasn't a great look for him, and I think it lost him quite a few fans. And just before we move on to number 2 on this list, I'd like to thank you all for watching so far, and if you have enjoyed this video up to this point, I'd really appreciate it if you could subscribe to the channel. Number 2. Sean Rash and the snack bar. Over to Sean Rash now at the 2023 usbc Masters. Just take a watch at this clip of Rash bowling.
Rash backing off. We got some boisterous conversation from the snack bar.
If you listen closely, you can hear the sound of a microphone squeaking and somebody talking over the mic. This actually came from the snack bar, and clearly it put Rash off as he stopped during his approach. He steps back up and takes the shot but leaves a split. He then starts shouting and complains from the noise that was coming from the snack bar, and this then disturbs another bowler during their approach.
I mean, really unbelievable.
And Sean 4/9.
That's okay. Okay, so now we got real problems going on here.
Yeah.
You got Rash yelling snack bar, and you got I was right in the middle of Dombrowski's approach.
Rash was not happy and obviously felt the PA announcement was both too loud and that it had disturbed his concentration. Now I understand the fact that this is a major tournament, so there's a lot on the line, but this isn't like TV where there's total silence and therefore any small noise is noticeable. There's so much noise going on during this clip, around the bowling centre, that I'm just surprised Rash didn't automatically block this noise out. But whatever you do, make sure that you do not order burger and fries anywhere near Rash. Number 3. Jason Couch versus Brad Angelo. This next outburst occurred during the 2004 Bowlers Paradise Open during the semi-final match featuring Jason Couch and Brad Angelo. It appears that Couch started a bit of trash talk directed to Angelo. Now, as we saw in the previous video, in Bowling's Biggest Outburst Part 2, Angelo isn't afraid to give as good as he gets, and he's a very dangerous player once fired up, as Chris Barnes once found out to his cost. And if you haven't seen that video, you can watch Part 2 in the link above. Now let's just sit back and watch the entire encounter in full, as both players really started going at each other.
Just like that, baby. Just like that. Just like the Gators on the Knolls last night.
What a laying low and a flush strike from Brad Angelo. Steve Wilson, the final in Grand Rapids for his title.
That's right.
And you see how far left he continues to play.
Anywhere.
And he's
Maybe those ebonite balls hit too hard. They're too good.
And to me, this 7th frame, this next shot for Brad Angelo.
trying to get back to the finals again. Lady baby!
And watch this reaction. You think he knows the score?
3 in a row for Angelo. And he's got some history on his side, we'll tell you about. Couch has to have it. As Jason's fiancée, Kim Busman, watches closely, the two will be married.
You don't win matches without performing in the 9th and 10th frame.
Back and forth, Randy go. Strike here, puts him up. There it is.
No questions there, baby. No questions there.
Wow. We have got some major trash talking going on, the best we've seen on the tour in years. Shot like this.
Stare you right down.
He's done.
Yeah, Ricky Do, that's for you, baby.
Spare ball, just keeping it on the lane. He'll get all 10 down.
So you can see things got pretty heated very quickly, and this is probably like the biggest example that I've seen in PBA history of trash talking live on TV. And although it seemed that Couch did initiate things, it did backfire on him as it fired Angelo up, and Angelo went on to defeat Couch and move on to the final championship round. So that brings us to an end of today's video. I hope you enjoyed part 3 of the angriest PBA outburst. I'm sure I'm going to try and find some more of these and create a part 4, because I think everyone likes seeing bowlers get pretty angry and lose their cool. But I think the interesting thing in this video is the first couple of examples with Sean Rash and Anthony Simonson, is that it hasn't really done them a lot of favours in terms of their popularity. Because certainly the Anthony Simonson incident, okay, I mentioned that I believe there's other things going on that perhaps we don't know about, but it's not a good look, and it came across as a little bit petty, the whole no comment thing. You know, if you have a grievance, really you should try and be professional and deal with it off the lanes and just go in, do your interview, and kind of just leave it to one side, because you start dragging your feelings into it and it just doesn't make you look good. And I think it didn't help because it came at a time recently when there was started to be questions about Anthony Simonson's temperament and the fact that he is a bit of a bad loser. And likewise with Sean Rash, you know, we had all the stuff with the urethane comments, and even going way back to the stuff with Jason Belmonte. People were already saying that they didn't really like how Sean Rash was presenting himself. He was complaining a lot. And I know a lot of people are going to comment on this video, and I can see it now. They're going to say, oh wow, yeah, Sean Rash, why didn't he just block that out? He's meant to be a professional. He shouldn't let this kind of stuff rattle him and get to him. he should have the mental strength to be able to block this sort of stuff out. So yeah, that's why I found those two incidents quite interesting, because I think they do speak to the character of the bowlers in question. So please do comment below and let me know which outburst was your favourite out of these. And as always, thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it if you could go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Thank you, bowling fans, and see you all next time.